Psychic Ascension, Abigail Pattman, Reverse Karma Healing, Abigail Pattman, Metaphysical Biohacker, Introduction. Psychic Ascension, created by Abby. Psychic Ascension is the third in a series of books and podcasts explaining what physical ascension is. This book also exposes Cabal and their role in the New World Order. I have an energetic gift that returns energy to where it belongs. I didn't know about energetic exchanging. All I knew was that I kept being psychically and energetically attacked. Psychic Ascension also continues the new holographic matrix. The first edition was published in 2018. To begin with, it was really popular, and then I was shut down, persecuted, and energetically raped for my connection to ascended beings and higher dimensions. Holographic Matrix was only written and created by me. I found that the parts of the published version had been altered by the publisher and have now restored Holographic Matrix back to its 1111 Hertz resonance. Buddha and ascended beings helped me to recover from 8 years of persecution. The new series will be much more informative. Psychic Ascension, Reverse Karma Healing, Abigail Pattman, Part 1. Manifestation and how it works. Chapter 1. Radiating absolute vitality body and 3 other bodies continued and conscious manifestation. Complete conscious manifestation is denied to us as humans while we are surrounded by a pod. It is extremely difficult to manifest from your sovereign self while you aren't connected to your multidimensional energy bodies and your higher self is outside of your body. Holographic Matrix published 2018. The Arcturians were also communicating a problem with self. By calling self sovereign, they were showing that there is an authority over anybody having any connection to their own self. As discussed in a previous podcast or book, sovereign stands for supreme power, monarchy, or high-level autonomy. Self is not any of these. Also, if you look at anywhere on this planet that calls itself sovereign, you will see that somebody is in a position of power over others. Sovereign self is not possible. You cannot have supreme power over yourself. Self is beyond monarchies and high-level autonomy. Conscious manifestation. Conscious manifestation continued. Feeders. We start with the 11th dimension, universal life energy, which is the power behind the manifestation. Universal life energy can also be thought of as chi, prana, mana, life force, and has many other names. The more universal life energy we have, the more power we have to create. Holographic Matrix, published 2018. After having been exchanged to 1% of my energy, I had nearly all of my universal life energy stolen from me 3 times. I was exhausted all of the time while these toxic trolls fed on my life, my physical body, my possessions, so much more, and, of course, my feces. Conscious manifestation continued. Fakes. 5th dimensional energy is then used to travel. Our intention travels by the application of divine will. In order to manifest consciously, we set the intention within ourselves through our thoughts and feel it in our hearts. Holographic Matrix, published 2018. The application of divine will is Arcturian language. What they were saying was that conscious manifestation had some kind of sovereign authorities deciding how much universal life energy that all living beings had. These people are too stupid to know in detail how energy works. Even the ones that claim to be my friends all still help to try and rip me out of me. Conscious manifestation continued. Hunters. Fifth dimensional energy is then used to travel. Our intention travels by the application of divine will. In order to manifest consciously, we set the intention within ourselves through our thoughts and feel it in our hearts. My heart energy was ripped out of my chest over and over again. 24 hours a day. At its worst was the last 3 years. I was unable to manage in any way to change my circumstances. I did manage to escape where I was living and keep my cats alive. What I still had to do was hide myself away because these people came after me in the town that I moved to. Unconscious manifestation. Conscious manifestation continued. Unconscious. Fifth dimensional energy is then used to travel. Our intention travels by the application of divine will. In order to manifest consciously, we set the intention within ourselves through our thoughts and feel it in our hearts. Holographic Matrix, published 2018. At school, I didn't hang around in one group. Having my energy constantly exchanged meant that I was carrying the unhealed trauma of everybody that chose to feed on me. This led to being constantly treated badly because that was what was happening energetically. Your energy becomes your physical reality. People that are food are carrying the worst energy because it is unconscious, repressed nastiness. What I learned to do was move around in different circles so that I wasn't isolated to one group of people. This actually worked because I didn't stay around long enough for these trolls' nasty energy to affect the people that I hung out with most of the time. If something bad did happen, I left the circle of friends, that's in inverted commas. However, when you are already a target and you attract the attention of too many nasty, bitter cabals, you can no longer run from it. For 19 years, I had it, explained in other podcasts and books, targeting me, spreading lies, stalking me energetically, physically and online. Invisible Suffering, Chapter 2. Conscious manifestation continued. Constant suffering. My suffering was constant. Because of that, people just assumed that I was sensitive. I was sensitive. I was also, when I wasn't being forced to carry toxic paedophile troll energy, happy. The problem was that these people were so exchanged into my energy that if I was feeling anything in my heart, it created energy. By the time I began to remember satanic ritual abuse in small pieces, it had already become obsessed with me and had begun a 19-year invisible hate campaign against me, using gossip and initiations onto me energetically. When I started remembering satanic ritual abuse, it's because I recognized the energy. It was and still is an active Satanist. I began remembering because some part of me was sensing danger and was trying to warn me of what had happened that had caused something so evil that energetically I was still attracting it. Cabal never stop hunting and raping their prey. I worked non-stop with energetic courses, healers, therapy, and even created my own way of healing. But whatever I did, Cabal exchanged. Holographic matrix was my way out. I knew it, and so did Cabal and all the other parasites feeding on me. I began my journey working with energy around 20 years ago. When the memories began, my hair started falling out. Everybody pretended to care. Because I was permanently used as food, my emotions were mostly troubled. How could I be anything else? By that time, it had made sure that the spiritual scene I was in were all feeding on me. Somebody must have known that this was wrong. I would have known that doing this to a person was wrong. That's probably why nobody initiated me. One of them actually told me that when I was crying in front of her, that I still gave energy. No wonder everyone pretended to support me. It was great food for them. When I found holographic matrix, that's when they all slowly began to show their true colours. How the matrix exchanges all of evolution. Radiating absolute vitality body and 3 other bodies continued and conscious manifestation. If our intention is in alignment with our sovereign self, then a higher self will harness the energy using 11th dimensional life force as power and 5th dimensional energy as movement. Holographic Matrix, published 2018. All living beings have Cabal deciding how much energy that they are allowed. This is because the minute that any living beings begin to evolve in any way at all, the Matrix exchanges that energy using Cabal. Cabal are consecration, authority, beingness, authority, lays and lines. 33 degrees initiated people. Upon 33 degrees initiations, all Cabal are given any evolutionary energy from all living beings as a reward. These people can appear very conscious. They also appear compassionate, kind, and love, looking like they're helping the planet. While I lost everything over and over again, the parasites feeding on me stole any chance of happiness that I managed to snatch. How the Matrix exchanges manifestations. Radiating absolute vitality body and 3 other bodies continued and conscious manifestation. If our intention is in alignment with our sovereign self, then our higher self will harness that energy using 11th dimensional life force as power and 5th dimensional energy as movement. Holographic Matrix, published 2018. The problem was that each time what I was working on was exchanged, I found another way to create something. I was the child that fell down and got up again regardless of how hurt I was. This was a skill that I continued throughout my life. I knew that everything I did was taken from me, so I consciously manifested something that I could keep. The downside was that even though nobody could do what I could do, they could still exchange 99% of me out of my body. The Matrix gives Cabal authority over all living beings. This goes straight to their heads and they really believe that it's true. It's not true. You are all feces worshippers and bow down energetically to paedophiles and Satanists. This means that 15,000 people teamed up with Satanists to try and manifest my work and life. Fifth dimensional energy is what gets exchanged when they rape you of everything. Psychic Ascension, Chapter 3. Radiating absolute vitality body and 3 other bodies, continued and conscious manifestation. Our higher self then travels up through the dimensions using our energy bodies and their abilities to create our conscious reality. Holographic Matrix, published 2018. Yeah, right. If all living beings had all of their multidimensional energy bodies and dimensions intact to this level, the world would be a completely different place. There were times in my life that I did consciously manifest some of the things that I wanted in my life. Yoga was also exchanged out of me by jealous feces wannabes. If you've kept up with the books and podcasts and you still want to be 33 degrees, there is no hope for you at all. Anything I did, they took. A one-way ticket to Thailand 20 years ago didn't work. The spiritual scene made it worse. The truth movement had naysayers hate campaigning me. For what? Being a healer? In the end, it was 15,000 people against one woman. You are all so strong and powerful. Take yourselves to the toilet and recycle some feces. A psychic ascension could occur if all living beings could consciously manifest. This means that the Matrix couldn't exchange any energy from any living being. Congratulations, Cabal, feces eaters. Relinquishment from Cabal, 100% Buddha, Chapter 4. Energetic removal of feces pod. Relinquishment from Cabal, 100% Buddha, is for the people that didn't try to kill me for my energy. If you were knowingly trying to kill me, then don't try to do this. Buddha, Syrians, Arcturians and any ascended beings that are beyond the Matrix know exactly who you are. You may be able to lie to yourselves and everybody around you, but you can't hide your lies from Buddha. Buddha is my intermediary and also, like the dimensions, is energetically my container. I am not calling Buddha a container. I'm explaining how Buddha is 100% all of me. Relinquishment from Cabal, 100% Buddha, removes the feces pod. Extra matrix and laser lines that are shooting out of the stomach to exchange energy with everything living. It also removes the person that initiated you from having control over you and threatening to uninitiate you and turn you into food. You will also have AI removed from keeping your consciousness at 693 Hertz. You will not be uninitiated, otherwise you will be food. You will lose your 33 degrees. All initiations are hurting all living beings and the people initiated. They just don't feel it like beings used as food. Everything is cut off from their 11th dimension. However, the feces pod is the biggest threat to mass destruction. It's the beginning to finding a solution to mass initiations with as little suffering as possible. Your energy recovered will be 100% Buddha. Relinquishment from Cabal, 100% Buddha. These are the instructions, so I'm just going to read the headings, and you need the book to do this. Energetic removal of feces pod. Relinquishment of feces pod. Intention. Relinquishment, feces pod. This is very powerful. It is recommended that you do this when you have time to relax afterwards. This does not convert you to Buddhism. It does enable Buddha to protect you from feces pods. Relinquishment from Cabal, 100% Buddha. Relinquishment complete. When anybody begins the path of energy, the first thing that most people do is develop their intuition. The Matrix uses the occult as a medium for harvesting energy. Occultism is the main source of information and teachings when it comes to learning about energy. The Matrix has manipulated people's consciousness by targeting people that are becoming more aware and wanting to self-heal and grow. By using occultism as its tool, the Matrix can interfere with any conscious shift that could occur on this planet by exchanging the consciousness. Relinquishment from Cabal cleans your energy from 33 degrees and helps your heart to heal. Brunch, Sunday, April the 26th, 2009. After the detox. Giving your digestive system a break is not as relaxing as it sounds. By Andrew Biggs. It was never my intention to continue my colonic column last week, but the number of inquiries from interested readers about my detox experience has gushed forth in amounts similar to the coffee that gushed forth from my rectum over the past week. I know that was disgusting, especially if it's brunch time. But for those readers who can still remember as far back as a week ago, I have not been a member of that club in years. I should remind you that back then I was off to a 7-day detox on an unnamed island in the south. That column was written the day I was to get on a plane and fly down to a well-known spa resort that caters for a curious subgroup of humans. Overweight Westerners who pay for somebody to deny them food and shove rubber tubes up their backsides to ingest coffee. That club I joined for 7 days. Basically, detox is when you give your digestive system a break while you flush your intestines with an intriguing concoction of coffee and warm water. Upon arriving at the spa, I was presented with my spa pack, including a booklet entitled Your Cleansing Fast. Page 1 was disheartening. We here do not profess to be medical authorities or advisors. Now they tell us. Does that mean I can rise up and revolt when you start denying me food? Also included in the pack was a long plastic tube with a hole on the end, like a mini lawn sprinkler. This was our Kalima tip, and it sat ominously next to a new tube of KY jelly. This is the heart of detox, all was explained on day 1 when we were invited to the reception area. We sat around as the staff flicked on a 20-minute video explaining the colonic process. Our mouths started to fall agape. I had imagined a nice ward with friendly, smiling attendants who made soothing comments like, "Goodness, the weather's hot outside today, isn't it?" as they placed warm white towels over your crotch while slipping the little Kalima tips surreptitiously into your sphincter. Now you just relax there for 15 minutes and I'll be back when it's over. One attendant would say from behind her white mask, her head cocked slightly to one side as she winked at you happily. Reality was far more jarring. There is no colon ward. You do it alone in your own bungalow bathroom. So that explains the big black ugly meat hook hanging next to the toilet, the type you see in a butcher shop or every sequel of Friday the 13th. We had to fill a bucket up with coffee and warm water and then hang it precariously from the meat hook. Precariously? I should have saved that word for what comes next. Next to the meat hook is something resembling a surfboard, but the only waves around were those of nausea upon knowing what I had to do. The surfboard was a Kalima board, and it had a sizable hole at the end big enough for a head to pop through. Only my head wasn't going anywhere near it. The idea was to lay the surfboard down with the hole over the toilet. Then you lie down on top of it with your backside against the hole. A hose goes between the bucket and the Kalima tip. You smother the tip with KY jelly and presto, the Kalima tip is up your A quicker than a rat up a drain pipe. For the next half an hour, you lie there as coffee goes up into your intestines. After a few minutes, there is a full feeling like you're about to explode. You flush out, then take in, flush out, then take in. All the time, I was lying on a plastic board suspended above the ground thinking, please God, don't let a Thai, Raf, photographer come bursting into my bathroom. It was scary, ludicrous, and after a few times, more than a little funny. More than once, I cracked up at the sight of my crack up. It did lead to interesting dinner conversation. A chatty kraut Brit woman spoke non-stop of the spidery monsters coming out of her ample backside, as Andrew and I delicately sipped on our dinner of clear broth and carrot juice. I released a lot of black sludge this afternoon. Then some of it looked like a mini pine tree. I examined a few of them and wondered how long they had been inside me. What about you guys? What have you been excreting? Madam, please. Despite the caffeine rush, I remained in a constant state of weakness and hunger. Energy levels were down, not to the point of despair, but my one motivation was the sparkling, wonderful feeling one got after 2 days of not eating. To hell with that. At the airport, Andrew and I ordered a coffee for the mouth. Alas, it didn't come. I took solace in the myriad new age experts I could pay 2,000 baht per hour to tell me about my chakras and energy channels. Honestly, these Farangs are onto something. I would be quite happy to open anybody's chakras for 2,000 baht an hour. Just find me 4 or 5 tourists a day and I'm earning 280,000 tax-free baht per month. Who needs a university education? Jennifer, the iridology lady, was lovely, though my friend Andrew was a little disheartened when she gazed into his eyes and pronounced, "You have impacted fecal matter." My favourite was Abigail, a beautiful British psychic with 89 angels who accompany her on a sublime cleansing mission. For an hour, they wove their magic as she held my hand and filled me with light. And why not? I certainly wasn't getting any sustenance from the spa. Why not try it with angels? When it finally came to break the fast, the spa told us to do it slowly and carefully. On the first day of breaking the fast, eat raw foods, all fruits and salads. The detox manual ordered me in capital letters which shook my chakras to the core. To hell with that. At the airport, Andrew and I ordered a coffee for the mouth. On the Bangkok Airways plane back, I felt I was in heaven as I placed a cooked carrot into my mouth and chewed on it. Later that day, I would eat half a sausage and some mushrooms. My system literally rejoiced. My mood changed abruptly, and I transformed from sluggish curmudgeon to an affable raconteur. The first morning back, I ran 5 kilometres around Rama 9 Park, and it felt fantastic to have the energy to be able to exercise. I could feel my stomach, enzymes breaking down food with wide grins on their acidic faces, my intestines twisting and dancing with ecstasy as they sent fecal matter down, down, down. My detox experience was not wasted. I had a week off. I read lots of books about positive thinking and setting goals. But was it life-changing? Some of the other guests were ecstatic over it all. I wasn't. Maybe it's because after so many years in Thailand, my diet does already include lots of fruit and vegetables. I eat a lot more raw stuff than if I was living in, say, Sydney on a constant diet of pizza, hamburger, chips and meat and pies. And maybe, just maybe, it is a little presumptuous and arrogant of us to think that the fantastic machinations of our human body require a break from food now and then. Such were my thoughts nearly a week after getting back. The page is ripped here. It's a very old article. Getting down to it. Let's face it, detox is good, pastry is better. Yes, I do exist. I am a natural person, and I've got plenty of evidence coming that also proves that I'm telling the truth. My life was completely wiped off the internet. I think my website's down at the moment, and I disappeared. Energetically, physically, everyone just came after me. And guess what? I have my life still, and I will put it up and it will come back physically. So how dare you all do this to me? And for those reading the podcast and the holographic matrix, thank you. Psychic Ascension, Reverse Karma Healing, Abigail Pattman, Part 3. Third Dimensional Grid Implants, Chapter 8. Radiating absolute vitality body and 3 other bodies continued, and third dimensional grid implants, lays and lines. Fourth dimensional grid implants, lays and lines become third dimensional because energetic realities end up creating similar situations physically. After it had successfully isolated me, whoever was targeting me technologically and had removed me from having an online presence, these people literally went in for the kill. They stopped hiding it. This is when the stalking began. It would do rituals in front of me. When whatever it is wasn't in the country, the old white dude who appeared to be running the show was next door. Here's an example of what he was doing. He looped the same trashy techno trance track, so I had to listen to it non-stop. More than once he went away for a few days and left it playing. He moved his bin onto the back porch so that every time I sat on my front porch, he threw stuff in the trash. He used symbology in everything that he did. Everybody in the surrounding area suddenly had an interest in hanging their laundry on their front porch. It was a cult. I mentioned before, nobody was at home when I looked at them. Another thing that they did was point their shoes at me. You might think, so what? They all started hanging their laundry out, but the implications were evil. Physical objects are used as props to rape energy in black magic. These people were hanging me out to dry. It was also a way to lay and line my clothes. Pointing objects, and used especially at somebody's home, was symbolic of kicking me out. Most of these people I thought were my friends. My energetic rape had turned physical, and I was surrounded by Cabal clones. Energetic violation, physical violation. Radiating absolute vitality body and 3 other bodies continued, and 3rd dimensional grid implants, lays and lines. When the male version of it wasn't stalking me on my porch or assaulting my ears with his techno prehistoric trance, he was busy ritualising underneath his bungalow with a drill. I didn't actually see anything he created because his only intention was to destroy me. He literally moved 2 bikes underneath his porch and spent sometimes hours a day drilling. What he was actually doing was laying and lining me. Even if he wasn't doing anything, the home that I used to love was now a place next to a permanent abuser. I was literally living next door to a techno-trance mechanics. I lived in this bungalow and another one in front before that for well over a decade. This area was idyllic. It was so safe that you could leave your front door unlocked when you went out and not worry. I could leave my door open, walk down to the beach, which was 1 minute away, and never worry about anything being touched or stolen. What changed? He moved next door. Things were already bad, but I had a safe home. What came with him? Renovations, hotels, expanding, the constant sound of a building site nearby, and me finding my so-called friends were all in on this. Forced to be in a world that I didn't want to be in, chapter 9. Radiating absolute vitality body and 3 other bodies continued, and 3rd dimensional grid implants, lays and lines. What did I do to upset these people? I just wasn't part of their paedophile worshipping rape gang, meaning that I could see through their raping games directly to what they were. I was so psychic that when they lied, I felt it in my body, and I was blocking their initiation right to rape me. Then I began to read their rituals and spells. I began to see the darkness in their faces and the expressions in their eyes. Being raped of most of my energy meant that I was exchanged into them, and I could see and feel it. Being exchanged 1% of my energy the first time meant that I had been given a crash course in white magic by the Syrians. Before then, I was hacking energy. Now I was magical. Forced to deal with parasites. Radiating absolute vitality body and 3 other bodies continued, and 3rd dimensional grid implants, lays and lines. I wasn't interested in magic. I was a healer. I was hacking the matrix and finding matrix technology that is in every living being, and is how the matrix is harvesting everything. My father once gave me a book, How to Turn Your Boyfriend into a Toad. Thinking about it, most of the boyfriends I had in my teenage years were already toads, so maybe that's why I never tried it. I did learn some stuff because I was a psychic. The bottom line is that what I found was that when I did try magic, it took time but was successful, and usually somebody got hurt. I didn't feel good about that, so I only did the 1 or 2 things that I did know how to do for protection. What I realised was that I didn't need to do rituals and spells. I was a healer, and I graduated to hacking the matrix to protect myself. 99% of what I was doing was working with energy. I wasn't interested in learning magic or becoming magical. The problem was that hacking matrix technology and returning my energy was hacking all the people that I was feeding. A lot of them did rely on their toxic rape rituals for energy. After I was exchanged to 1% of my energy, they had exchanged me to a point where I could no longer hack. That's when I began learning White Magic 1111. Cabal, walking technological morons. Radiating absolute vitality body and 3 other bodies continued, and 3rd dimensional grid implants, lays and lines. This is what Cabal have when they decide to finish you off. An extra matrix, a feces pod, recycling feces 24 hours a day, everything nasty in holographic matrix, published 2018. They have lays, lines, AI in all of their movements, intentions when they initiate people, and an energetic hierarchy, pedo pyramid, supporting them. They are also energetically merged with whoever initiated them and all of the people that they initiated. You can also add Anunnaki, Satan, Serpent, Titans, Lucifer, aliens and 4th dimensional beings. What did I have? The Octurians were helping me to recover my energy, but to also exit the matrix. We are all trapped in a matrix simulation. If we weren't, then scientists wouldn't be finding codes in everything, which has been explained in a previous podcast book as energy that is being exchanged using AI. I was creating a simulation that was free of anything to do with the matrix. This is logic. You cannot survive on Gaia with walking feces matrices and all the people that have been initiated into that system without being in a separate simulation. I'm not blaming initiated people. That's all that was on offer. I wasn't practicing magic. I was building a simulation with the Octurians that kept anything that exchanged energy, which leads to all of the problems that this planet has, whilst reclaiming what belonged to me. The truth is that that is worth a lot of money. Once again, this is only about money. The problem was that my simulation was beyond the matrix, so the technological codes cannot be accessed. What did they get instead? Oh yeah, they just kept ripping me out of me. What is any kind of magic? Chapter 10. Radiating absolute vitality body and 3 other bodies continued, and 3rd dimensional grid implants, lays and lines. All magic is technological waves mixed with energy. Magic stands for this: mathematical, aim, grid, invisible, choice. If it has a K in it, mathematical, aim, grid, invisible, choice, king. So what was I challenging? A bunch of post-menopausal humanoid hag trolls, Cabal that had complete energetic rights to all living beings, and they're slightly less powerful feces man trolls who call themselves kings. The problem with that is they also call themselves kings of the jungle, lions, because the Matrix has given them the physical rights to all living beings. King obviously is the lion part, and the jungle represents the consciousness of all living beings. This is where it gets interesting. Lions don't live in the jungle. They are found in savannas, and they're also not the most powerful feline species. Tigers do live in jungles and are the most powerful of all large cats. Even a female tiger can win a fight against a male lion. Why a lion was chosen as king of the jungle for Cabal is probably because it isn't true. Cabal are not allowed to show what they are. Everything is hidden. It can be found if people know where to look. There is something more powerful than lions, kings, which is basically male, Cabal and high initiated men. Who wants people like this maintaining consciousness for all living beings? Maintaining, eating feces. Tigers live in the jungle, and the jungle represents consciousness. What's more powerful? All living beings having their own natural energy and consciousness. So in their language, tigers are the kings and queens of the jungle. Mathematical aim grid, invisible choice, magic is tiger or lion. White magic 1111 tiger. Radiating absolute vitality body and 3 other bodies, continued and 3rd dimensional grid implants, lays and lines. Just like monarch butterflies, lions and tigers are beautiful creatures that are suffering hugely because of energetic exchanging. Humans have used symbology probably ever since there were humans. Lions and tigers are large, beautiful cats, and no cat is better than another as living beings. To explain how lions have been used as kings of the jungle metaphorically, how do they live? In prides. A male lion surrounds himself with female lions who hunt for him and feed him. What does he do? Protects them and their offspring. Patriarchy protects its hag trolls who do most of the work. In my case, I lucked out because I got stuck with a rancid king next door, frantically doing magic with a K non-stop. Lions are also sociable and stick together. Pride of lions. Cabal pride themselves on the amount of initiations they have beneath them. Lions stick together. In the energetic hierarchy, everybody serves a king. Every king has a pride of hag trolls. Tigers are the opposite. They are solitary. If all living beings had their own natural energy and consciousness, then they wouldn't need kings that keep all the energy and consciousness for themselves that isn't conscious anymore. Tigers do not need hag trolls. They are independent. Tigers represent real white magic, which resonates at 1111 hertz. Magical aim grid invisible choice is how technological waves are used. Initiated people and, sadly, occultism exchanges energy. White magic 1111 creates energy that removes technological waves and recovers energy. It is beyond the matrix and its technology. White magic 1111 safety and psychic removal. How exchanging energy attracts dark forces. Your own consciousness is very different to consciousness that has been energetically exchanged because it is connected. Using outside sources of energy to become more conscious may give you insight and false white light, which feels good, but you are exchanging your own energy and losing your own consciousness. You are also mixing all exchanged energy with the matrix. It is the presence of your own heart connection that creates consciousness. The more outside sources of energy that you use, the further away from your own consciousness you become. The matrix is able to control you on a deeper level because if you do not have your own consciousness, then you are mixed with collective unconsciousness and the matrix. The matrix has got much more control because your energy is much easier to exchange. The matrix also has dark forces that also exchange energy. Exchanging energy is how dark forces are attaching themselves onto people. Relinquishment from Cabal, 100% Buddha, will prevent AI, Matrix, Cabal and high initiated people from preventing this playlist from working. Safety and psychic removal only works for non-traitors. Naturally, I gravitated to a yoga course called Jungle Yoga. I call my crochet beachwear Jungle Pirate. Somebody's probably stolen that by now. Obviously, I had no time to continue designing. This certificate shows that I also learned yoga and practiced for many years until it was exchanged out of me and I had no time. I enjoyed this course. Obviously, I had yoga meltdowns and healing purges. Everybody does. Energetic exchanging is everywhere. I'm posting this to show that I existed and I am who I say I am. The yoga teacher was not part of the satanic ring that persecuted me. Jungle yoga was a course in Copenhagen. I live in Koh Samui, but also visited Copenhagen, Koh Tao and Bali a lot. Psychic Ascension, Reverse Karma Healing, Abigail Pattman, Part 4. Living with satanic ritual abuse. Radiating absolute vitality body and 3 other bodies continued and 3rd dimensional grid implants, lays and lines. The truth is that regardless of whether I remembered it physically, satanic ritual abuse destroyed my life. This picture I drew over around 6 years. For those listening to the podcast, it's in the book. It was mainly when I was self-medicating and I had various favourites that I chose to numb the pain out with. I remember joking that this picture covered most forms of getting high. It began in teenage years and I finished it sometime in my 20s. A psychologist would say that my subconscious was talking to me. As I drew it, I know what it meant to me. There is a lot going on in this picture, so I'll be talking about it again in the future. I did draw others that I don't have, but they pretty much all had a similar vibe and meant the same thing. There is what looks like a fairy in the middle holding a ball of light up in the air. As a small child, my grandmother bought me a fairy book and I loved it. I used to wish that I was a fairy or a dragon and that I didn't have to be a human being in this world. As a small child and throughout a lot of my earlier years, I would wake up and wish to be dead. The fairy represents a child and the light is being held up against the evil like a ward. Satanic ritual abuse continued. Satanic ritual abuse, my light. The ball of light also represents my soul. I'm holding it up against Satan. In the bigger picture, he has Pan horns. Pan was actually a nature elemental that represented music, fun and nature amongst many things and was used to symbolise the devil as certain religions became established. My soul is mine. I'm holding it up, showing that I still have it and also that it is the last piece of me, my light, that I have left. I'm surrounded by nature, which is where I love to be. As a small child, I spent a lot of time sitting in trees, walking around in woods and watching wildlife. I preferred animals to people. Satanic ritual abuse, energetic exchanging. Satanic ritual abuse exchanges so much energy that a small child is literally merged and fed on for any light that they have left. This leads to personality disorders, self-harm. In my case, I was trying to cut the pain out of me. Self-destruct, self-medication. Has anyone noticed the word self is in all of this? Words are spells. This is an obvious attempt to take people away from any connection that they have left to themselves. Elves also implies energetic merging. The dragon is not iridescent. It is dark rainbow colours, just like the tree. She's guarding me, represents self, and is very peaceful. Satanic ritual abuse, freedom. If you look at the devil, you'll see a prison behind him. There are aliens behind bars. When small children are severely traumatized, they cannot process the amount of pain, which is also the toxic black energy of the abusers, and they disassociate. That means that they leave their bodies emotionally and mentally. In order to survive, they create personalities that can protect them and try to prevent more pain from happening. In my subconscious, I have put them somewhere where they couldn't hurt me. The hot pink castle is 963 hertz, false white light, and the opening is the passageway. There's a fire in it. Fire represents purifying. Fighting for energetic freedom. Radiating absolute vitality body and 3 other bodies, continued and 3rd dimensional grid implants, lays and lines. All I ever wanted was to heal myself from childhood trauma. I didn't do this for money or fame. I'm nearly off all social media, but these people erase me from anybody knowing about this. If I don't do this, they'll never leave me alone. I've been dealing with lumps of feces all of my life, and for what? So they can get high on dopamine, and in the case of my work, so they could get rich. I fought alongside certain 4th dimensional beings for energetic freedom. It's obvious why, but I'll say it. Satanic ritual abuse and being food for unconscious people is a life not worth living. Why would I risk my life for this? Because part of me died already. She died during a sodomizing satanic ritual, and when I found out, I made a promise to her. I promised that nobody was ever going to hurt her again. Everything that I've been through is for her and all the innocent beings suffering. It's also for Gaia. Despite all of this torture, they never got her. This part of me is inside the dragon in my picture. She couldn't handle living after satanic ritual abuse. That's all I was trying to do, heal a dead part of me. I have asked for 2 pictures to be sent back to me from my family. Nothing good comes from hanging my pain on their walls. The other one is crying blood. That was well over a year ago. I did not know about energy and exchanging when I gave the pictures away, and I would like to burn them and say goodbye to my past. 3rd dimensional grid implants, lays and lines are on all living beings and cause enormous suffering, while Cabal gets high. White Magic 1111, Serenity. How to bring peace into your life. The Serenity playlist is a sequence of energy healing tracks that help to recover your own natural energy and create serotonin. Serotonin is your peaceful neurotransmitter, and for initiated people especially, serotonin is replaced with dopamine, which creates emotional highs and lows. People that are not initiated will benefit from this because serotonin replenishes the receptors regardless of what you are. Serenity is also great for all living beings in a world where peace is hard to find. The worst thing about energetic exchanging is the removal of higher multidimensional bodies, which removes physical serotonin from the body. If all living beings had full serotonin, peace would be easy to achieve on this planet. Instead, energetic exchanging feeds dopamine to those doing it and leads to the suffering of innocent beings that are literally just being used as food. Gaia is a planet where everything needs some form of food to survive. Energetic exchanging is so severe that this is how eating food instead of just energy became physical. Gaia used to be a higher dimensional planet. Energetic exchange merged all living beings in a cycle of rape that led to matter density and needing some form of subsistence to survive. The Serenity playlist addresses energetic eating only. Relinquishment from Cabal. 100% Buddha will prevent AI, Matrix, Cabal and high initiated people from taking synergy away from you. Synergy only works for non-traitors. I didn't go through this torture to feed these people in any other way. White's Magic 1111, recovering your own energy. How exchanging energy is kept secret. White Magic 1111 recovers your energy so that you have protection from the Matrix and other sources that try to energetically exchange and steal energy. White Magic 1111 is conscious. Working with White Magic 1111 is a way to evolve your own consciousness. By evolving your own consciousness, you are helping the planet and her inhabitants. Heart-conscious people are not interested in causing suffering to other living beings. Your own heart connection is your consciousness and connection to your own self. Heart-connected people are what is going to help to heal the planet. If initiations were harmless, then energetic exchanging would not be a secret. Nobody told me that they were eating my energy. Initiations are kept a secret for a reason. I found out how initiations work to continue feeding the Matrix. It is obvious that if energetic exchanging wasn't a secret, that somebody else may have figured it out sooner. Relinquishing from Cabal, 100% Buddha, will prevent AI, Matrix, Cabal and high initiated people from taking any White Magic 1111 away from you. White Magic 1111 only works for people that didn't betray me. I choose my own energy. How about you? How to create White Magic 1111, Chapter 12. Learn how to create matrix-free White Magic 1111 techniques. Clean white magic is hard to find because it has been mixed with occult practices. This is something that most people are unaware of and a common mistake to make. Spells and rituals need outside sources to exchange energy from to work. These techniques are matrix-free and create energy instead of exchanging energy. It is your own consciousness that creates White Magic 1111. If you would like to create White Magic 1111, then the next few pages are White Magic 1111 techniques that have been created without any matrix contaminating its energy. Occultism is interwoven throughout nearly everything to do with energetic practices because it is the only thing available when people begin exploring energy. To maximize your White Magic 1111 techniques and really feel a difference, you can do relinquishment from Cabal before any technique. If you were part of the energetic rape of me, White Magic 1111 will not work for you. You serve or are feces eaters, and feces eaters destroy everything that they touch. You are the reason that this planet is suffering, and also billions of people and living beings. My energy is my choice. How about you? How to create White Magic 1111 a new way. Clean White Magic 1111 is another way to help our planet from the current state she is in. Clean White Magic 1111 helps to prevent energetic exchanging. Relinquishment from Cabal and White Magic 1111 techniques do not use any outside sources of energy or energetically exchange energy. Clean White Magic 1111 creates energy. It does not take energy. These clean white magic 1111 techniques are for people that want to create clean energy only. They cannot be mixed in with any other practices, modalities or spells and rituals. If anybody does that, they won't work. Clean white magic 1111 creates energy. These techniques will only work if they are done as stipulated above. These techniques can be done as often as needed. Anytime that you feel tired, low on energy or depleted is a good time to do them. Obviously, anybody that knowingly betrayed me, anything that I create or created will never work for you, ever. How to create white magic 1111. You will need 1 jade crystal, 1 orchid essential oil and small candles. If orchid essential oil is hard to find, you can find something with orchid in it that's an oil. For example, I'm living in Thailand and the Thai have orchid massage oil. You want the oil to be orchid, but it can be weaker than essential oil. Jade self-cleanses. This means that jade cannot be energetically exchanged. Jade also boosts self-cleansing outwards. That means that it is already creating a shield that blocks energetic exchanging. Orchid essential oil also self-cleanses, boosts, shields and blocks. Candles have a flame which is fire. Fire cannot be energetically exchanged either. You are not using outside sources or energetically exchanging from anywhere. You are working with jade, orchid, essential oil and candles that help you to create white magic 1111 techniques that only create clean energy. 1111 hertz. What was it that I was doing that was so bad that nearly everybody turned against me? I was working with crystals, essential oil and plants. Does this sound familiar? Hundreds of years ago, people were burned at the stake just because they knew how to heal people with herbs and natural resources. Many indigenous races were either wiped out or bred out so that their race no longer existed just because they were connected to nature. The witch hunt is still happening. They've just found another way to do it. I'm not a witch. I am somebody that was born with more of my own natural energy and is fighting for the right to have my own natural energy. Energetic exchanging means that the real people behind hunting people like me can stay invisible. Where money is concerned, it appears that nearly everybody that I know has a price and can be bought. I can't be bought and they know it. Creating white magic 1111 jade. Jade protects your resonance. Jade is a crystal that self-cleanses and boosts clean energy. Jade is special to white magic 1111 creation because it helps to shield and block from energetic exchanging. Jade self-cleanses its own resonance. Jade boosts its own resonance. Jade shields from energetic exchanging. Jade blocks energetic exchanging. Doctors learn the Hippocratic Oath. I will use treatment to help the sick according to my ability and judgment, but I will never use it to injure or wrong them. There will be many debates about that in many movements. However, doctors and the medical profession are trained for many years and do operate under a code of conduct. There are obviously people that do not abide by this code and many that do. anybody can become a healer. I found 56 healers ripping my energy out of my physical body to heal people. Healers that target other healers like this are butchers. The damage that they are causing is enormous. Many real healers cannot protect themselves against people like this. They either stop healing or disappear from social media and become recluses. Exchanged energy embeds the matrix into butcher healers' clients even further. Their clients may feel good at first. They are filled with false white light and get high. Then they crash and need another healing. Who makes all the money? Butcher healers. Creating white magic 1111. Shield your energy. This white magic 1111 technique creates clean energy that helps to shield your energy. The instructions of how to do this are in the book. I knew what was happening. The healing world had turned against me as well. Nobody wanted me to have clients because they didn't think that their clients would come back to them. I saw it a different way. I saw what healers could do if they were free to heal without the matrix energetically exchanging. Imagine what healers could do if they had exited the matrix. Creating white magic 1111 pets protection. Animals are sensitive to energy. This white magic 1111 technique helps to protect your pets and creates clean energy. Directions again in the book. What I was creating was a way to prevent people having to self-heal like I did for 20 years, trying to heal my childhood trauma. I have created something that actually really heals. Reverse karma healing. This was threatening to many healers who rely on repeat sessions. If somebody has surgery, depending on the circumstances, they only need one operation. Why should the healing world be any different? A good healer is always evolving their energetic practice. If healers exit the matrix, then their gifts, skills and abilities are protected from the matrix and energetic exchanging. Not to mention human parasites. A good healer sees the value in investing in themselves. Whatever came after me calling itself a healer is beyond disgusting. These people should not be allowed near animals or any living beings. Everything possible was done to silence me and take everything away from me so that I couldn't communicate with other healers. Also, why would any healer contact me when they too are intuitive and knew what was happening to me? Creating white magic 1111 nature boosting. Nature needs our help. This white magic 1111 technique is great for plants, gardens and surrounding nature. Instructions in the book. I couldn't use social media for long periods of time. This gave the people energetically using my energy and targeting me plenty of time to hate campaign me and convince people that they could do what I could do. Instead, they ripped my energy out of me and put it in their clients. Sociopaths. Creating white magic 1111. Food self-cleansing. Our nutrition is important for well-being. This white magic 1111 technique raises the resonance of your food. Directions in the book. I'm not interested in being on social media much anymore. I've learned that just like mainstream media, people love you until they hate you. This is also divide and conquer, orchestrated by the Matrix and carried out by people that are part of the Matrix. Being subjected to the amount of hatred and tortured by Cabal and pedo lovers does that to you. Creating white magic 1111, heart connection. Your heart connection is your connection to your own self. This white magic 1111 technique helps to self-cleanse your heart. Directions in the book. What I have done, despite all of the attempts to stop me, is exited the Matrix. Matrix Exit and all following books and podcasts are an explanation of my persecution, exposing Cabal for what they are and what is really behind global and mass initiations. More evidence. I have not been replaced by a piece of feces. And there is a little picture here of some idiot that has linked themselves so that they come up with my name, Abigail Pattman. I will read the text. This is currently up if my name is Googled, Abigail Pattman. Obviously, I have not been replaced with a low-life feces talker. Yes, I did click on it, and the choice of music is appropriate for a Satanist. What are you, 5? Grow up and get a life that actually belongs to you. Proof of satanic sacrificing. Disclaimer, Psychic Ascension. Psychic Ascension. I have created holographic matrix, dream matrix, sleep matrix, awake matrix, physical body ascension, universal ascension, psychic ascension, and reverse karma healing to help people ascend karma only. Reverse karma healing only works if you're not energetically exchanging, practicing other kinds of energy work, or seeing other healers. I know that there will be other healers in the future that will be healing free of the matrix with other skills to offer. When that happens, I will be happy to tell my clients about them. I have the right to refuse anybody that was involved in energetically exchanging me, merging me, and trying to kill me for my energy and work. 1111 Hertz cannot be achieved by using outside sources of energy.